want. Be number one. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. But I'm only human, and I bleed when I fall down. I'm only human.
Is everyone full? That was a
Is
terrible
everyone still awake?
response. Man, all right. Well, the fun thing is that after lunch, we have this thing called Ignites. How many people have heard of Ignites? Okay, I got maybe a third. Somebody want to explain what Ignites are? Bruce?
No.
Okay, all right, I got it. Ignites are actually the more challenging part. So of all the speakers that you've heard today, they had great sessions so far. Can I get an amen? That's close enough. Ignites are actually even more challenging. So the concept of an ignite is basically you have 5 minutes to make your point. So you get to distill an entire 30-minute talk down into 5 minutes. It's usually what we force people to do. But the trick is that you have 20 slides to do it in, and they auto-advance every 15 seconds. Ooh, yeah, I can hear. It's really challenging, honestly, and everyone should try it. And actually, the opening Ignite is kind of fun because it's talking about being an introvert. So JJ is going to get up and talk to us in just a second. But before we get onto that, I do want to make sure that we recognize once again our wonderful sponsors who have made it possible that buying a ticket to DevOps Days is not ridiculously expensive. So can we just kind of have a shout out to the sponsors right now? Just a round of applause. Thank you.
So as part of that, we have a few of our sponsors who are going to do a quick 1-minute pitch to you guys. So first up, we have Chef, and it's Andrew from Chef.
Hey, everyone. I'm Andrew from Chef. I actually live in Mississauga, and we actually have a Chef Toronto meetup group that if you're interested in Chef, you should totally join. Chef focuses on infrastructure automation, compliance automation, and DevOps workflow. So if you want to know more about that, please come see us at our booth, our sponsor booth. Other than that, I'll keep it short. Please come to ChefConf also if you're interested in Chef. Even if you're not using it, it's a great place to learn about it and kind of find out what's going on. Other than that, have a great conference, everyone.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Andrew. So next up, we have yet another Andrew from New Relic.
Hi, everyone. So like they said, I'm Andrew from New Relic, and it's great to see so many familiar faces, a lot of customers in the audience. For those of you that don't know what New Relic is, we're an application performance monitoring tool, but we've come quite a long way since the early days. Our goal is to really help make it easier for you to find the bottlenecks in your code. We do that by instrumenting the code of all the major programming languages, helping you understand where the bottlenecks are. If you want to see a demo, come stop by the booth. We also we're also can dive into the front end, like the browser, native mobile applications, helping giving you some time back in your day. Take care.
Thanks, Andrew. So got an interesting one coming up now. We have Jay Dizzle from Chef.
Jay Dizzle. Here he goes.
Awesome. And looks like the screen isn't up there. Okay. That's not set. Is this on? Hello? There we go. That's just not working. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's go ahead and start. So hi, my name is JJ Asgar, and I'm a senior partner engineer at Chef. Come on, 15 seconds. There we go. Maybe? Really? There we go. Or should I say as a crippling introvert? A short generalized description of the difference. Extroverts are energized by people and interacting with people. Introverts are drained by interacting with people. I really am a crippling introvert. I'm just with my people right now. I realized my introversion a while ago, but as you can tell by me up here, I've learned out how to figure out how to energize myself at conferences. Unite. There we go. First, these are my tactics. This is how I've learned over the past 2 years from conferences around the world how to cope and get the most out of it. I've got to see some gorgeous places, but being an introvert's challenging. Second, these may work for you, but you need to find a way to make yourself comfortable at conferences. No one likes a crabby conference goer. Come on, 15 seconds. There we go. Your first technology conference is always the hardest. But before you know it, it's like riding a bike. You end up wanting to do it all the time. I had an animated GIF of my daughter going around a bike on the first time on 2 wheels, but she ends up running into me, so I didn't put it on this one. Assuming this isn't your first conference, you can use these tactics from now on. You might have already seen me use a couple of these myself. First, carry around a game or two. Like Coop or Resistance or Exploding Kittens are perfectly sized and useful. That was what I was trying to put on over there, but as you can see, it didn't work. It's a really great game, Coop. Find a table at lunch that's close to everyone but empty. Take a seat, feast in the crowd, and you'll be surprised how quickly people come to you. I did that at lunch today, if no one noticed. And I'm going to get patient.bear at chef.io one of these days. Booze helps. It really does. But know your limits, though. If you go overboard, people won't like spending time with you. As they say, drink responsibly. Do your best not to open up a laptop or a notebook. You want to play or work, and it's really hard to have a conversation over a laptop. There we go. Recently, I found a group of people playing with the LSAC stuff, and I learned more about how crappy Kibana 4 was in 10 minutes with them instead of compared to months and months of research. And you know it's true. Kibana 3 to 4 was a major change. If open space is an option, like DevOps days, be willing to start an open space, something so off the wall people will be curious. I'm famous for Dwarf Fortress, or Usenet, or acquiring digital media. Find a conference buddy, ideally someone other that you see at other conferences. You'll be amazed on the doors one other person opens up for you. And ideally someone you don't work with, because you want to try to expand. It's okay to slip away for some alone time. Attendance shouldn't be taken. Take breaks. Naps are awesome too. You know they are. If you identify yourself as an introvert, it's not an excuse not to enjoy a conference. You just need to figure out what works and what makes it enjoyable to you. Come on, there we go. You'll be surprised on how many other people identify as introverts. Hell, I am, and I'm up here. And I'm more than willing to talk about it. And I'll be having an open space on introversion too. You know yourself the best. If something tells you you need to recharge, you should go do it, like that cat. Kitty cat. Carry around a game or two. And as you'll see, as you can see, or as you can't see, I am. It really does work. And I'm willing to play it at an open space. There's a huge chance I put this talk together so people would come up and talk to me, instead of me having to make the first move. Thank you for your time, and is there any chance anyone wants to play a game? Nice.
All right, great job.
What you didn't see is actually JJ took a shot before coming in here. It's what the green room's for. This is why there's benefits to being speaker. All right, next up, we've got a couple more sponsors that we want to thank once again, and I think there's one called Pager Duty?
Pager Duty.
Yeah,
Pager
I'm
something.
somewhat familiar with this company. This is actually my colleague Irving, who's going to tell you a little bit about what Pager Duty does.
Thanks, Dave. As he said, I'm a software developer at PagerDuty, based here in Toronto. Like many of you, we live the DevOps life, deploying our own code to production, on-call rotation for the services our team supports. When things aren't working right, this thing sings to me that the server is on fire. We built PagerDuty to take the jumble of events coming from all of your disparate monitoring tools and turn them into real actionable alerts, organized according to your business needs, reliably delivered to the right people, and then help you track those through the whole life cycle of responding to that incident. We like to say PagerDuty helps you to sleep better at night, except when we're waking you up to fix your broken stuff. But the rest of the time, sleep better. Thanks.
And now I did hear a couple of references to ThoughtWorks, maybe in a couple of talks. I can't remember. Was it like it was only one time, right? Something like that. I mean, there maybe
no.
7 references, something like that. All right, here's Ken.
Hi, I'm Ken McGrage. I'm from ThoughtWorks. If you saw Arthur's talk on continuous delivery stuff, that's why I'm here. So ThoughtWorks is primarily a consulting and delivery company, but we do have a product division that we're not very good at talking about. So that's why if you've never heard of us, please come see us. We're doing a drawing for the book that he was talking about, the continuous delivery book, and I'd also love to tell you about Go and Snap. Enjoy.
Thanks, Ken. All right, so back to the Ignites. Next up, we have Max. Why we should be excited about the Azure Stack.
All right, here we go.
Thank you.
On the clock.
On the clock. Hi, my name is Max Yermohanov. I'm a senior consultant at a small local, small but awesome consulting company in Toronto called ObjectSharp. I work a lot with big companies, banks, insurance companies, and so on and so forth. I help them to adopt DevOps practices, and one of the first things you do is help them to automate builds and deployments, continuous delivery, continuous integration, so on and so forth. One of the first obstacles you hit is provisioning, or you have to pick the cloud, or whether you're actually going to go to the cloud. So you pick things. This goes way too fast. I'm talking slow. So you have to pick there's a traditional model where you have dedicated hardware and dedicated groups and so on and so forth, which don't work with cloud. So you pick a cloud model, and you have to pick, if you're lucky, you stick with the cloud. There's Azure. I love it. I use AWS. I use Azure. Right now I'm using Azure a lot. It's great, awesome, but it's still a cloud. So big companies don't often go that way. So what you do is, luckily there's a new product out there that's going to come out in the fall as part of the Windows Server 2016 called Azure Stack, which will bring the flexibility or consistency and the power of Azure on premises. Basically, it's the same code. You don't have to make any changes. You don't have to. You work with the same tools, same API, same user experience, but it's running on premises. Business case for this. So there's business and technical considerations. There's application flexibility. You want flexibility. Everyone wants to. There's a lot of alternatives out there. Again, I called it inadequate alternatives. Let's say it's my second language, so maybe it's a proper word, but whatever. Business and technical considerations, the regulations, data can't leave the country. You want certain customizations. There's concerns about latency. After all, it's in the cloud. Applications nowadays have to be flexible. They have to be able to talk to different be able to move around easily, and so on and so forth. So you don't want to focus on that. You want to focus on the code. And come on. So some of the possible scenarios, dev test, right? You want to write an application once and be able to move it back and forth. So if you write an application in Azure in the cloud, but then want to move it to local production, you can easily do that. You want to write it locally, but then be able to move it up, so on and so forth. All right. Public cloud. Okay, so inadequate alternatives. There's a lot of, there's some public clouds that don't have on-premises solution. There's some on-premises cloud-like solutions that don't have a public cloud. With Azure Stack, you're getting both because it's almost the same. Yeah, so let me talk about the platform for a second. With Azure, there's the end user experience portal, PowerShell, Visual Studio, and so on and so forth. With hybrid cloud, you're getting the same thing. The only difference between the Azure Stack and Azure, it will be what's at the bottom. It says cloud-inspired infrastructure, and what it means, it's a scale, right? In Azure, they're working with thousands of servers. In Azure, on premises, it's probably not going to be thousands of servers. With Azure Stack, you're getting all of the flexibility. You're getting PaaS, you're getting IaaS, all of that inside your data center. And you're getting unified app development, meaning that you only have to write the code once. It's going to work, whether it's in the Azure or Azure Stack. You get a rollback. You basically get a true cloud with all the multi-tenancy, resource pooling, and so on and so forth. It's one Azure ecosystem, meaning that you only have to learn one tool, you have to write the one code, and you have to deploy it one way. The next slide is supposed to be an animation. It's going to be a bit flat, but whatever. So there's already 22 Azure data centers out there. Actually 24, there's 2 now in Canada. The Azure Stack has a tenant subscription, so should be a lot of providers out there. It's going to be thousands of deployments, so there should be, should work great. Sorry, I'm nervous. It's my first Ignite talk, so it's my first talk at DevOps to make things worse. It's my first talk at Ignite, which is difficult. Anyway, so there's some calls to actions. If you go to aka.ms.azure Stack Guide, you will learn a thing or two. It's a lot of webcasts that you can download a preview. Go to GitHub. All of the templates are on GitHub. Microsoft now is open source. By the way, I work for local consulting companies. I don't work for Microsoft. I'm not here to promote Microsoft. I love them, but that's not why I'm here. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Hopefully it wasn't that bad as I think it was. Thank you.
So I guess you guys got to see just how difficult that can be when those slides auto-rotate on you and you haven't finished talking yet. It's a great challenge.
It's a challenge.
So next up, we have John from Shopify.
Thank you. Hi, I'm John. I work on the developer tools team at Shopify, and we're happy to be sponsoring the conference again this year, like we did last year. We are a company that is really has heavily adopted the DevOps Kool-Aid and the continuous delivery practices. Our core application runs on about 300 servers across multiple data centers, and we ship new releases about 30 times a day. We're just here to share basically what we've learned, some of the tools we use. We don't have anything to sell you, but you're more than welcome to come by our booth, and we'll show you some of the stuff we've done, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Martin Cleaver. I work for Blended Perspectives. We are your local Toronto-based Atlassian partner. If you use Jira, Confluence, HipChat, Bamboo, or Bitbucket, those are tools that we provide. Atlassian is famous for things being interoperable, and it's true, you can make it work with Jenkins, you can make it work with Slack, etc. But really, the value comes when you use a coherent platform. Gartner says Atlassian is the top-ranking platform in its class for its price. If you need help with Atlassian products, advice on how to use it, training, etc., come to Blended Perspectives. We're right at the back. Happy to help you. My name is Martin. Thank you.
Organizers. So we didn't really need to introduce them again. Next up, we have Jason Shaw, postmortem on after-hours maintenance gone awry.
How many people do postmortems on incidents? How many people do them in public? Oh, this should be fun.
Hi everyone, my name is Jason Shaw. I work for FreshBooks, and today I want to talk to you about a night where some sysadmins had a really awful night doing after-hours maintenance. This planned maintenance, we had to have customer downtime for it. What we had to do was upgrade our Redis cluster. We needed to add some more CPUs, some more RAM, and some more hard drive space. Unfortunately, our ESX licensing said you can't do that live, so we had to have customer downtime. Kind of a bummer. But luckily, we knew the problem. We had a great maintenance plan set up for it, and we thought that everything was going to be great. Then we noticed some problems. Our staging environment wasn't like production. Developers tend to just make changes ad hoc there instead of taking consideration for customer data that lives there. And Redis was really a proof of concept that suddenly became critical infrastructure. The tools that we were using to do this maintenance, we had Rundeck as a front end for Ansible, and we're using Python and Unicorn for most of our microservices, and of course Puppet for our server state. So pretty standard tools. Again, we were pretty solid on this. Our plan was basically, block the customers out, confirm there's nothing writing to Redis, close any open connections that are writing to Redis, do the upgrades, use Puppet to start everything back up, and then test to make sure it's good and let the customers back in. Easy. Should be 30 minutes max. That's what we planned for. And we were doing pretty good. Until we got to the start everything phase, which I'll get to in a moment here. But yeah, so as all good things, everything's going fine. It's going fine. Push the button in Rundeck. Ansible closes out everything up. We put up our maintenance page. Everything's great. Communications to customers goes out at the right time. Sean and I, the other sysadmin, we're feeling great about everything. It's going fine. Then we push Puppet, and our Unicorn middleware application just tells us this in Puppet. So like any good sysadmin, we dive into the logs. We start reading the init scripts. We're rereading the configuration files to see what happened. We still think everything's under control. It's starting to get a little close to the end of maintenance, and we're like, I think we still got this, but now we're doing S-traces, so things are bad. But by now, it's almost 1 a.m. on a Sunday morning, and we're like, I'm pretty confused on what to do. Things are looking just awful. So Sean and I take a few minutes to breathe, and we say, what do we do? I don't know. This is really bad, and we're not making any progress. So the worst thing that you can do is just keep spinning your wheels on the problem. So what do? We hop onto Slack, and we put an @channel notification in a couple of really important channels saying, we need help. And we tweet to the customer saying, we're sorry, things are going along, we're working on it, and we get back to the problem. Keep in mind, remember, this is really late at night or really in the morning, depending on your perspective, but luckily some developers and an IT manager were actually online, and they responded and jumped immediately into damage control, which was great because we were really out of our element. And it turned out that this was actually a little more on the developer side of things than the operations side. One of our developers pointed us to a Git change that had been made to the initialization script for this particular application. And sure enough, we reverted that, and everything was hunky-dory after that. And we did our testing, maintenance was done, and it was great. So what did we learn? DevOps is not just 9 to 5. If you transition from waterfall to something agile, Scrum, Kanban, whatever, you have to sort of extend that to being the full cycle of when your product is live. We also learned that service stewardship is really important and is a difficult problem to solve. We didn't know how to get a hold of the right people at the right time. It's late at night or early in the morning, and we need to get a hold of developers. They're not used to being on call. They're not used to being paged at these points in time. But we knew that we needed access to the right people. So what have we changed since then? It kind of feels like nothing, because most of the things that have happened have actually been cultural changes more than technological solutions. We came up with service stewardship for all of our applications. Now have a team that are in charge of sort of first response to things. We use chat ops during the day so that we can actually page, using PagerDuty, the developers who are in charge of these applications so that we can get a hold of them easily. And the most important thing is it's really gotten teams, cross-team communication going really well. So what does our future hold? Obviously no problems, right? But that's not realistic. What we're working towards is no need for customer downtime when we do maintenance, working with resilient systems so we don't have to deal with those sorts of things. And from the developer side, we need developers to have a better understanding of what production looks like, so making sure that staging and production are more similar. Some things that we would like to have in the future would be like, hey, having devs on call during maintenance, or key developers on call when we're doing maintenance that might affect their services. What would be amazing would be to just have developers have actually access to production, so they can sudo in and say, hey, that initialization script changed, here's the problem, here's the fix. Thanks everyone, I'm Jason, I'd love to talk about this stuff later on. I'm from FreshBooks. Thank you.
Commercial, and then we'll keep it moving along. So we've got
Deloitte.
Deloitte.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gilbert Chan. I'm a DevOps practice lead at Deloitte. So everyone's wondering why we're here. I'm personally passionate about making things more efficient. Yeah. Right. So at Deloitte, we actually do a lot of background about Deloitte. We are actually a very large technology consulting firm. We do a lot of technology implementations. We work with a lot of our DevOps, Agile, digital, and system integration teams. So an example of this would be we recently went live with the first Canadian self-serve, digital-first insurance platform company called Sonnet. And from a DevOps perspective, we actually built full CI/CD from dev test to production using Ansible, Docker, Jenkins, Elk. Right now, supporting it through New Relic. And so, we are in the weeds, very technical.